Hey guys, today we have a brand new update in Etheria Restart and we had many firsts in this update. So let's go through them one by one, shall we? First, we have the two brand new animus in the game. First one being Plume and second one being Hizuki Mari, the SR character. So let's talk about Plume first. She has the highest base speed in the game at 129, and she's an opener in PvP with AoE strip and defense down and weakness and curse quill that can reduce your speed as well and increase damage taken, kind of similar to Chloros right there. But she has AoE Dispel. So being very fast as an opener is a very good thing. She's also a dark character, which means she will not face difficulty in landing debuff compared to, let's say, using Obo against Sania or using Nahor against Sania, aka me, having a very bad time. So she's gonna land her debuff very easily and she can dispel very strong character. Her passive allow animals on the team to land Curse Quill as well, and she increased turn meter after enemy unit action. And so if you run her into a CC, if you run her with a CC and cleave team against like a bruiser comp, she's gonna be pretty amazing. Her skill 1 is an AoE attack that can also land Curse Quill on everybody on the enemy team, so that is gonna be very cool. But the good thing, or the bad thing, or the interesting thing about her is that beside from getting speed in skill 1, we all know that, you might have to go with a skill 3 upgrade as well to improve the chance of landing defense down weakness to 45% to land it a bit easier. Other than that, I don't think you'll have to max skill 2 just yet. But in her dupe section, the first one increased stat. However, the second one has a different icon this time around, and it will increase counter attack rate by 10%. This is the first in this game, okay? Because if you compare her to a similar unit, let's say an AoE debuff unit like Chloros, her first dupe is the same. The second dupe is accuracy. Alright guys, apparently they changed the entire thing. So no more counter attack. That was just a bug, guys. Don't worry about it. We're back to business as usual. Dupe doesn't really matter, and that is the end of the story. I even had the video uploaded on the channel with a thumbnail. Now, let's review the SR character as well. So she has an AoE CC and res down. It's a double hit. However, each hit will only do one thing. The first hit will decrease res, and the second hit will petrify. So she can petrify a bit more consistently if she land the res down. Something like that. That's going to be very cool. Her passive will buff your entire team attack power, or all unit in the field actually. But if they're not moving, if you're running a CC comp, then they don't enjoy the attack buff. If they're using like defense skilling, HP skilling like Rahu Tiamat, they also don't enjoy the attack buff. And reduce healing by 30%. So that is pretty good. If you combine it with the Etheria effect, then the healing is going to be shit. So she's going to be very good to draft into heavy healer comp, and she can help your team petrify, even though 4-turn cooldown not exactly amazing, but she will allow you to kill them faster. And if they manage to heal, they heal for less. So that is like an answer to the bruiser meta in RTA at the moment. Even though if you talk to any high rank RTA player, they will tell you that in high rank where people have crazy dupe in their cleave unit, it's actually not that heavy bruiser meta anymore, but people are switching to a mix between cleave and CC bruiser kind of thing. It's not like Giga full bruiser like what it used to be. Like Keka is using a CC unit in there. Luca is straight up just CC with Borkney to do damage right there. So it's a good mix of a couple different things. We also have a lot of like full dupe Messiah cleave as well. So having that unit in the field will probably affect more of the mid-range RTA rank where maxed out bruiser comp is still very strong against not very good cleaver or CC player, aka me. But I think that's going to be very interesting, adding more answer to the meta. And if, let's say, Bruiser becomes shit, then they can sell you like a new LD Bruiser banner in the future, because this one is obviously very good for CC and Cleave player, which means the next banner can be a very strong Bruiser LD. Because if you look at the LD section of the game, right, there's not straight up like a version of Rahu or Tiamat in the LD section just yet. So Bruiser player, don't worry. They will introduce new fun unit for you guys to enjoy in the new banner. I'm talking like I'm an XD dev, but I don't know. But we can already see that's gonna happen, right? An LD Tiamat, LD Rahu, that's gonna be very, very interesting. But that is not all the fun things in the update. We now have a brand new shop called the Essence Shop. You can buy module essence straight up with gem right now. You can also acquire module essence via event, but you are kind of making a trade-off between like lattice and module essence at certain part of the event. Usually I would still recommend you to get the lattice shot instead of the module essence, because lattice is the craziest bottleneck in the game at the moment. So I bought this thing pretty much immediately, and this will restock every single week. So every 4 weeks I will have enough to buy the 1000 option, not the 3000. I think the 3000 are either only for whale or if you really care about quad speed roll. But I think the most optimal option is actually the 3 substat option, because if you look at this one right here, you only have to roll 1 substat in there, but it's so much cheaper. And if it's a Fury Edge crit damage with crit rate, attack percent, and speed, I can roll the rest stat in the 4th slot. I don't care. But just to get a very good starting point for like a crit damage Fury Edge is already really good for me, because all of the Fury Edge I'm using are like green or blue level. They have very bad substat. So just by getting this 1000 option right here can be very good for me. So I think this is going to be the one that I'm aiming for as someone who will probably not spend money in this crazy sort of pay-to-win module essence shop. Because if you buy out everything, okay, you buy all of this with real money, and you go in here, go to the module shop, and maybe you ignore this one, unless you see like a perfect piece in here. This is flat, right? Whatever. But you can actually go in here and you can buy this thing unlimited. So if you only farm Aurora and you spend money only to buy Doki Doki module, you are farming 2 things at the same time, which is pretty good for a whale who are willing to spend money to chase for more speed or just more module on their account, because the game is designed for you to not really farm module outside of double drop, and you are only farming this part of the game. And there's a limit to farming this part of the game, right? So for like a whale to maximize the value of their money spent in the game, they will farm shell outside of double drop. They will max out the essence shop, and they will buy the module that they don't farm during double drop to maximize the stamina used during double drop. They're farming Aurora for like Swift's Mind Bulwark, and they will buy Swift Rush and Time Weave, for example, and that will be very good value for the whale. So this is the new monetization approach that they are doing in the game. So a lot of people are going to scream pay to win. I understand that. I agree, okay? But I come from a game that is very similar to this game, that this game is based on, and this is not exactly too crazy. Like, you can buy way more thing in that game. So to me, as someone who is so jaded by buying gear in PvP gacha game, this is like, it's all right, I guess. You know, they gotta make money somehow. If the game doesn't make money, it will die. So it's either they make money or they die. If they die, then we don't have a game to play. So that is also a trade-off. So this showed up, and I think that's gonna stay. And it is what it is, I guess, right? Personally, for me, all right, as someone who will only use my gem to buy module essence, I will go for this option, which I think is probably going to be the most optimal option for someone who doesn't spend money in buying module. And that is not all. We also have a new shell dungeon called the Chloros boss. So I cleared this thing at 2-star, you know, pretty easy. No problem. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. This boss is absolutely insane, okay? Right now, the best team is with either Yeli or Lilium. I think Yeli is probably better, but the boss actually have immunity. So you have to sign like a strip unit, and that's why you have to pull for Plume. Very simple. But because the boss will have immunity and speed buff, and the boss is really fast, by the way. Like, I'm pretty sure this guy has pretty decent gear, but the boss is crazy fast. So it will outspeed you, do damage to you, and the left ad will buff the boss speed even. So the boss is crazy fast. You have to strip the immunity if you're going for some sort of like a one-shot team, like what you are seeing right here with Yelly. And if you miss the defense break, it might be a bit shaky. If you miss your follow-up attack, it might be shaky as well. But if you land your thing, then it should not be a problem if you run this kind of team. The boss also petrify you, and that is pretty crazy. So if you don't have immunity, then you get petrified. You might have to run like Alicorn if you're not running like an immunity team, that kind of thing. And if you miss strip, very bad start to your run as well. But with Plume, you can strip into defense break, so your damage output will be much more consistent, and you can run this kind of speed team, and it shouldn't be a problem to you, right? Just have a very cracked out Yelly. This guy's a max dupe, max skill Yelly, very solid damage and build right there. And you can also do this with Lilium. And the concept is pretty much the same as well. You need to have a unit to strip the boss immunity and potentially the speed buff so that the boss doesn't move very often to absolutely destroy you. But if you notice, the boss has a buff called Soul Biter. So what it does is that if you don't clear that buff from the boss and the boss take a turn, your team get one shot. And I've seen Bloodbath Rahul, Bloodbath team. I use Bloodbath on my team too. Absolutely one shot. Just unsurvivable. It's pretty crazy. I know. It's another kind of boss that the game really encourages you to like clear it really fast, or you just gonna die. So as you can see right here, this Lilium is being boosted by the Hendrik buff as well as the Chloros buff. So this Lilium is doing absolutely incredible damage. If you have max dupe Lilium, max dupe Yelly, then you're gonna do very well in the boss as long as you land the strip. So with the new unit coming in that is Plume, you can strip and defense break immediately, so you can replace either Hendrik or Viper, and you may even run double damage dealer. So Plume, Lily, and double damage dealer. You might even two-shot the boss. Very simple. But going for a slow team might be a problem, because if you miss a turn and the boss lap you, because the boss is crazy fast and it has speed buff all the time from the left ad, then the buff, the Soul Biter buff, will detonate and you get absolutely one shot. It's crazy. So if you're going for a slow team, you might have to go back to one of those 4 Amber Shell kind of team that people used to run in Rengokusu Inferno back in the day. I'm not sure if you're still doing that, but there are the kind of team that run 4 Amber and trying to survive, and the boss cannot one-shot you. But the run will take like a ridiculous amount of time, and I'm not sure if you really enjoy that. So the meta is pretty much just go in, strip, try to do as much damage as possible. And Yelly is probably best in slot because Yelly can damage and debuff at the same time. You cannot freeze or control the ads because they immune to control effect, immune to turn meter, immune to dot. So the boss is really scary. It's not like unbeatable. It is definitely beatable, but the best in slot right now is the very strong LD unit. I'm pretty sure there will be more free-to-play friendly teams showed up, more slower teams showing up. Like you can see right here, we have a Rahul team with Doki Doki, and we have Fuchu as well. So this is going to be like a tank down kind of team that Doki Doki is going to try to give you as many turns as possible. You are seeing Tamweave, Halloween, Doki Doki to get the lowest cooldown possible to buff your team and allow the team to move as often as possible to clear the Soul Biter buff from the boss to avoid getting one shot. But it's definitely gonna either go crazy or it's gonna take 3 minutes with Rahul. I don't have Rahul. I can't even show you the Rahul team because I don't own a Rahul. And I think the free-to-play Yelly in a way that you can also use in this boss is going to be Ciada. So a maxed out Ciada can also defense break with skill 3, can also steal buff with skill 1. So take away the boss speed buff, and she can perform similarly to Yelly. Can I show you that? I don't have her as well, so I can't really show you that. I do have a Yelly. I pulled her recently, but I literally cannot afford to build her because I just don't have Latisse. I gotta build my Lily. Lily is not even max skill 2. So maybe in, I don't know, 3 months where I can afford to build this unit with more Latisse from new events or whatever, then I think I'm going to have a much easier time with PvE content with Yelly. I can do the Lily, Claws, Lilium, and Viper team. Is it very safe? No, not really. I'm going to be straight. Not really. It doesn't clear all the time. You miss strip, you die. You strip, you miss defense break, you also die. So that is a solid 50% win rate if I go with the team that I use to clear this, which is Lily, Lilium, Chloros, and Viper. I'm trying to build like a gray team, but without Chloros in the team, let's say I'm running like this, then the boss actually just destroy gray. Like gray on HP crit damage accuracy can survive, but I take too long and RNG will take over and I lose. If I go with like crit damage, attack gray will just die, even with my girl here trying to heal. So maybe with a gray, Fuchu, Doki Doki, I might have a chance here. This might be like a more free-to-play option, but then there's Doki Doki. Is that really free-to-play, Sean? You kind of have to get a unit in there to allow your team to get turned, and Lily plus Doki Doki is the way to go for like the slower team. I'm not sure if using immunity will improve your chance of surviving, because you have to worry about the boss buff, the boss one-shotting you if you don't take enough turn, and the boss freezing, or not freezing, petrifying you. So that's a lot of problem to think about. I'm sure there will be team that come up, but right now is, once again, Max Dupe Yelly, Max Dupe Lilium is going to be the way to clearing the boss. How about the shell in this boss? I'm pretty sure every single shell here will be usable, because I think shell is probably the best part of the game. Every single shell in every single other dungeon are usable in one way or another. Okay, there are no useless shell in my opinion, I think. Yeah, I think every shell is really, really good in a way. And it will apply to this one as well. The first one allow you to do more damage when enemy is controlled. So fit into the CC PvP meta. The second one, Ouroboros. I think it's a similar name to a character from the low-key TV series that I was watching the other day. The second one, increased damage dealt and speed. And look at the matrix. It's like a mix between crit damage and bruiser, so that will make your bruiser faster. That can be very, very cool as well. The third one, Tiger Yin, you can have Bloodbath and Fury Edge in one shell. That will solidify the build that people are using for Lilium and other DPS in RTA right now. They build it on Bloodbath Bulwark, but they can't afford to go any DPS set on it. But now you can go Bloodbath Bulwark Fury Edge, and this guy is gonna allow you to do so. And he will increase your first hit damage, something like that, but increase your damage output. And the last one, Reaper Step, is going to be to counter the CC meta. When you're petrified or frozen or stunned, you can still gain turn meter if you resist debuff in that control state. So when you run Gigabyte, for example, you cannot really get out of control because Gigabyte doesn't get activated if you are stunned. But this can give you turn meter when you are stunned. So that can be pretty cool. And you can run double speed set on here. You can run Strive on here as well. Bloodbath, Strive, and maybe Evolve Guard. Or you can run double speed as well. So that is pretty interesting. And I'm pretty sure people are going to be using all of that in the future very, very soon. Other than that, I think that is pretty much it that is in the game at the moment. There'll be more information, more events, more stuff to talk about in the future. And you can see on the App Store update, there is a Yelly skin coming. They put that in the App Store update. So Yelly is going to be the first character in the Chinese or the Asia, the Korean, the Japan server as well. So they're going to get Yelly first banner, like how we got Messiah in the first banner. And they're selling a Yelly skin with that, you know, to make a lot of money at the start of the other server. Understandable. They're probably going to do that. If you own Yelly and you use Yelly a lot, you definitely want to buy the skin for her as well. And that is pretty much it for today. And a side note, before I end, the game officially enter version 1.0 point something. Before this, it was version 0.1 whatever. But we are finally in version 1.0. And with that, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.